Hello and welcome. I'm Lori Lumbie with Authentic Freedom Academy, and this is our weekly spiritual service, Friday, October 15th, 2021. And our service today may not have a theme. I don't know. We'll find out as the gathering unfolds. But what did come to me today was to provide an opportunity for us to really just gather together in meditation. And this is meditation through music. And this will be my first time using Zoom audio share. So if there's any glitches, know that we're trying something new here. And the music that we're using is a song called Unity by Sean Johnson, who is a kirtan artist and yoga teacher. And I've had the opportunity to practice with Sean and get to know him a little bit, as he is good friends with the studio owner where I practice yoga. And the chant that he uses here is Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, which is all about being a vessel of peace and love and compassion in our world. And he combines that with the poetry of Rumi with just a really beautiful effect. And so I just invite all of us to close your eyes and to just take a moment to settle into that place of quiet. Allowing yourself to be present to your own reason and purpose for being here today. And to just relax into this meditation. The timestamp is about 8.5 minutes. And so get comfy and just allow the sounds and the vibrations to wash over you, to bring you into a state of calm and quiet. And to let spirit speak to you in the depths of your heart as you receive the sounds and the vibrations of the mantra and the energy and passion of the music. So I just invite us to rest in silence for a few moments as we continue to receive the blessings of the mantra, the prayer, the music, the vibrations. As we begin our gathering today, I want to share with you a reading from the Gospel of the Beloved Companion. The Magdalene answered and said, "What is hidden from you, I will proclaim to you." And she began to speak to them the words that Yeshua had given her. She said, "My master spoke thus to me. Miriam, blessed are you who came into being before coming into being, and whose eyes are set upon the kingdom. who from the beginning has understood and followed my teachings. Only from the truth I tell you, there is a great tree within you that does not change summer or winter, and its leaves do not fall. Whoever listens to my words and ascends to its crown will not taste death, but know the truth of eternal life. Then he showed me a vision in which I saw a great tree that seemed to reach into the heavens. As I saw these things, he said, the roots of the tree are in the earth, which is your body. The trunk extends upward through the 5 regions of humanity to the crown, which is the kingdom of the Spirit. And as I reached the final bough, upon which burned the fruit of grace and beauty of the Spirit, I felt my soul and all that I could see dissolve and vanish in a brilliant light, in a likeness unto the sun. And in the light, I beheld a woman of extraordinary beauty, clothed in garments of brilliant white. The figure extended her arms, and I felt my soul drawn into her embrace. And in that moment, I was freed from the world, and I realized that the fetter of forgetfulness was temporary. From now on, I shall rest through the course of the time of the age in silence. And then, as if from a great distance, I heard the voice of my master tell me, Miriam, whom I have called the Magdalene, now you have seen the all and have known the truth of yourself, the truth that is, I am. Now you have become the completion of completions. And thus the vision ended. I'm not sure there's much to say. um, except this, and maybe more will come as I start allowing. That song Unity from Sean Johnson is such a beautiful expression of why we're here. Why we're here, what we long for, what we're seeking after. And the mantra that he wove in and through that song, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, holds within it a profound intention. And at the same time, it is a prayer. The words of the mantra, roughly translated, are a prayer seeking that all beings, all creations, all expressions in this world be peaceful, happy, and free. And that we ourselves be vessels through which that peace and freedom might come through, and to be vessels through which others might find that peace and freedom within themselves. As we've discussed in this circle so many times, that unity that we seek, no, let me say it differently. When we come into an experience of that unity, that is where we know, first of all, that's where we feel that deep, peaceful contemplation. It's that place where we feel in harmony with the flow. It's the place in which we move gently and freely, unencumbered, where we are able to trust the movement of the universe and know that our soul is carrying us where we need to be. When we are plugged into that unity, we are able to flow with that gentle movement, not resisting, not arguing, not rejecting it, or trying to force it or manipulate it to our own egoic end. Instead, we just lay back and we surrender and we allow ourselves to be carried. When we experience that sense of union, it is in that place that we know peace, contentment, joy. We know that we're one within ourselves. We know that we're one with that which we might call God. It's where we know we are one with all of humanity and all of creation. And it is in that knowledge of union, that experience of union, where we are able to operate more fully in a place of authenticity, integrity, truth, humility, and compassion. It is in and through that state of union that we are able to access our soul, the part of us that carries the knowledge of our purpose here, the knowledge of who we are and what our mission is on this plane. As we connect with soul, we find ourselves able to more courageously choose and live the path of our own truth, in contrast to that which might be imposed upon us or expected of us by our society. The reading from Mary's Gospel, or the Gospel of the Beloved Companion, which is authored by Mary Magdalene, we are given an example of the journey that we must accomplish in order to experience, but also maintain that place of union. Maintain that place of openness, openness to soul, openness to spirit. And in that place is where we find the motivation, the encouragement, the support that we need to do what we're here to do. All of this is a roundabout way of saying one of the things, no, the thing that has increasingly come into my awareness is how much this commitment to union, by whatever words we use to describe that, how much that commitment is beginning to change our world. We have spent many years in this dying of a system that is long past overdue and isn't quite dead yet. And it has been the process of dying, the process of witnessing the death, the process of being part of that dying has oftentimes been exhausting, frustrating, excruciating, eviscerating. Because in order for us to hold that space of death for the world around us, we have first had to master our own. We have had to be willing to go into that deep, dark cave of unknowing, that place of the void, that edge where we are right standing toe to toe and face to face with our own demise. Realizing the terrifying fear of our own end, that at some point we will not be, at least not in the form to which we've become familiar. We have had to master the dying of the things to which we have clung. We have had to master stepping away from and out of all of those things that seek to imprison and enslave us. We have had to master the death to old relationships, to old relationship agreements. There's so much we have had to leave behind. And for many, if not most, the biggest thing we've had to let go of is our attachment to surety, security, and to the desire to be able to control what's happening in our lives. We have had to let that all go, and in many cases, at quite a cost, at least a cost to the ego. We have had to endure that death, that suffering, so that we could be witness to and present to the world as it goes through its own death. It's painful, it's excruciating, it's horrifying at times. And yet, this is one of the ways in which we have been of service to this world. In fact, it might be the primary way up until this point. Witnessing and midwifing our own death and doing the same for the world. We could not, however, endure this death if there weren't a vain promise of new life. And I say that with a laugh because we know that in death comes the promise of new life. We see that in the cycles of nature. We also know that sometimes death is just death, and there is nothing new on the other side. And I know for everyone in this circle, there have been times when hope was hard to hang on to, or maybe we had to have hope pulled out of our dying, gripping hands, as I know I have. But today I want to share a glimpse of examples of this hope being born out. Glimpses of the potential for a new world. Glimpses of new beginnings. New beginnings that are clothed in attire that the status quo wants to condemn or pathologize. And I'm just going to mention a few here, knowing and trusting that you have your own sight, your own insights, your own vision, your own glimpses of some of the new that is coming forth. This morning, as I was running errands on my way home from yoga, I stopped at the local health food store, and as always, had an opportunity to get into a conversation with the two amazing women that work there and one of the customers who I happen to know. Oshkosh is a small town. And the word that came up today was rebellion. And the example that was given today, one of the women that works there has a current and a former life in theater. And she had posted something on Facebook today about a strike. And I knew there was a United Auto Workers strike coming up, and I can't remember exactly for what, but this was not that. This is a union that represents all those who work in theater and television, specifically those that work behind the scene, stagehands, crew members. And I don't know enough about theater or the production of TV to mention any other titles, but probably everybody on that big long list of credits at the end of every movie or TV show we see. They are having an international strike on October 18th as a way of communicating to the industry that we will not work under the conditions that you have forced us to work under any longer. We will not work hundreds of hours a week with no break. We will not work without being able to take a nap or sleep before travel. We will not work without the medical support that is needed when so much of the work is dangerous and potentially physically debilitating. We will no longer work for the wages that you are offering. We will no longer work in the way that this industry has forced us to work. It is an example of the people on the ground saying, no more. Perhaps not in the world of theater, but definitely in the world of movies and cinema and television production. We know that those working on the ground, those working in the background, are not the ones getting rich. They are not the ones with the multi-million-dollar movie contracts. They are not the producers or the CEOs that are enjoying the lifestyle of the rich and famous on the backs of those that are doing the slave labor for slave wages. That is one example to me of a new world being born. The people on the ground saying no more to the system of feudalism that defines our world. Another example, at least in the US, service workers saying no more. Thousands and thousands of people refusing to go back to work after the lockdown, after unemployment benefits ran out, refusing to go back to work because we have a minimum wage that is not sustainable. These are our essential workers. They work in grocery stores and restaurants, retail organizations and outfits. These are the people that our lives depend on in some way. The CNAs that do the grunt work in a medical setting and are exposed day to day to day to viruses and illnesses and just plain challenging, difficult work environments. These essential workers are saying, we're not going back to work for that. We're not going back for shitty pay, terrible hours, horrible work conditions, and rude customers. They are saying, no, I'm going to find another way to support myself and my family because I do not wish to be any more indentured to this system of slave labor. Young people choosing not to go to university. Choosing not to go to university that costs 10 times what it cost 20 years ago, and in an economy where wages have not proportionately increased, and where they are not guaranteed a job or a position after getting their degree. They're saying, no, I'm going to find other ways to find fulfillment in my life. These are just a few of the examples of ways in which the new world is seeking to be made known. It is in the simple act of saying no more to a system of slavery. It is the simple act of unplugging from that which is not life-giving or supportive or honoring of who we are or who we are called to be in our lives and in this world. There are so many ways in which the new world is peeking out at us. When we take the time to look, when we have the eyes to see, and when we are willing to set aside the words of our culture that tell us those people are just lazy or they're just entitled or, well, any other thing that the culture would want us to judge these actions by. So I just invite all of us to enter into a few moments of quiet, allowing ourselves to be open to what are those glimpses of the new that you're seeing in your own life or in the world around you. What are some of those acts of resistance or rebellion that you are seeing as examples of people choosing the new world over the one that's dying? So let's enter into a few moments of quiet as we allow those visions to show themselves for us.